We had some big games, especially on Tuesday, and we got to start off with Manchester City against Real Madrid. The matchup that happened too early, where it's too early.
I disagree.
Too early.
Because what else would we have talked about now? Feyenoord versus Juventus? You know what I mean?
That would have been fine.
That would have been a fun match.
They played Milan, obviously. But
yes, they played Milan. But what I'm saying is a different matchup is not exactly what we would have wanted. This is still fun because of not just the drama associated with it. There was this feeling that Manchester City were starting to slide out of their slide out of this, kind of monumental collapse that they've experienced.
I would say more of a downward spiral, right? Not really a free fall.
It's pretty free fallish compared if you grade it on a curve to the rest of Pep Guardiola's career.
Of course.
This is horrendous. This is the Great Depression. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And his lady leaves him, bro. You got no shorty. You got no W's. It's rough. That's a rough. That's a collapse,
bro. Bad combo.
That's like you playing Jenga. You just do one of these. Is what happened to this man's career and life.
But
so for this match, we're like, oh, this is a different Manchester City. They've kind of started to piece it together a little bit. They got a couple of hits and misses, but they're kind of figuring it out. Could they withstand the onslaught? This is probably the perfect time for Real Madrid to have to face them because they're like, yo, you don't want to go a little bit later in the season and they completely figure it out and maybe get some pieces back. I thought this was the perfect time for Real Madrid to face them. And boy, did it work out for them?
Yes. This is at Etihad, and it started off strong. We don't really get to see tifos in English football. In the Premier League, do they even allow big tifos like this that we're looking at?
They allow it. It's just not a part of the custom.
It's not a big culture. It's also a thing that I think fans in England look down on. Like, we're here for the
art. Oh, you did art before the game? Yeah. Get on with it, mate. You know, that's their big thing is like, we're here for the football.
We're looking at the tifo, the stop crying your heart out, and it's Rodri holding his Ballon d'Or trophy, kissing the Ballon d'Or trophy, and Rodri doing you're doing amazing, sweetie. Recording it or taking a photo.
Rodri outed himself as a Samsung Galaxy guy. Is that what this is?
This is
a Google Pixel
in Europe. I don't think.
I feel like
no, it's not about feeling. We look at the numbers. Android is very, very popular.
Not as popular. It's more popular than it is here.
Yeah, because more affordable.
I mean, now y'all got money. iPhone. You know what I mean? Y'all not broke boys, bro. You got money. You can go iPhone.
Yeah.
This man is ruining every group chat. Although they use WhatsApp, so I guess it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. So it's not really much of an issue. But
interesting.
A fun start because especially with the season that Manchester City are having to do this tifo, it's like, all right. Slow it down because there's nothing guaranteeing you're gonna win this game.
I also think to do a tifo when your entire league is not really known for it, especially the tifo seems like it was printed. This doesn't even seem painted.
This is
like too high quality.
The
chic was involved. You know what I mean?
It is very like they know a guy.
This is like
billboard.
Billboard.
Like, this is a very good. This is a high quality 4K. Type of tifo.
100% 4K. This is a little bit much, right? This looks like a YouTube thumbnail. Does it not? This looks like a big ass YouTube thumbnail.
It's also, I mean, if we're critiquing the tifo itself, stop crying your heart out is like not the words I would choose. It's not really bantery enough. It's like stop crying your heart out.
No, this is the first opportunity for the team of the Ballon d'Or winner to get back at the guy who didn't go, whose whole team didn't go. So I get this. This makes sense to me. I maybe agree with you. It's like
weirdly polite.
It's like there's a wittier way to do it, but also it's very. Most tifos are like on white. You know what I mean? Like a white or a colored canvas.
Yeah, it's like a little hard to see.
This looks like it was printed at a Kinko's. They're like a massive Kinko's. It's just an odd thing. But
Kinko's
also,
XXL,
bro. The big and tall Kinko's, bro.
Big and tall Kinko's.
Which we'll call it. For this, I felt like the same way you felt. Where I watched this and I was like, nah, man, y'all probably shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah,
y'all not playing really well right now.
Right. It's like this is not the time to be talking smack because how many 2-0 leads have Manchester City given up in the last 6-7 weeks?
I posted this on Blue Sky. Shouts to Blue Sky. I was like, yo, City scoring is not the issue. City stopping teams from scoring late on them is very much the issue. And that's exactly what this game became.
Because, yes, obviously, Real Madrid will end up winning 3-2.
On your own countryman, bro. Jude Bellingham scoring the winner late.
On your own, okay, yeah. I mean, when you say your own countryman, I'm like, Ederson? No,
no.
You mean against an
English Brazilians involved?
An English team. This is again, Manchester City have the lead, and then they got a penalty as well. And did that also give them the lead?
No, I think that equalized, if I'm not mistaken.
What was the Man City? Then that gave them the lead. The penalty gave them the lead.
Oh, that's right. 2 goals were scored late.
And then
Raheem Diaz scored. The former player.
That's right, who didn't celebrate. But he, what's funny, and this is another conversation that I think not enough people talk about. He scored, did not celebrate, but then at the end, Jude Bellingham scored, and he's doing a coordinated dance with Jude Bellingham. I'm like, all right, so which is it? Like, just because you don't score?
Oh, you think you have to be, there's a word for it where you're like.
Demure, I would say. Like, you have to be a little bit.
You got to be demure the whole time?
I would say so. I mean, I understand, like, you not celebrating, your team comes with you in a group, and you're like, hey, we did it. All right, good.
I feel like once you do that, you're a good citizen. Now you can celebrate.
You could twerk after somebody 100%. Else scored.
You can make it clap. After that, you're good. Because now you're celebrating for your friend.
Right. But yeah, it was just,
like if me and you.
Bellingham, Bellingham didn't really even celebrate until Brahim Diaz got there. And then they started doing the
It was like a funky walk. And then he turned and did his joint.
Exactly. But as Brahim is celebrating with him, I'm like, okay, are you showing respect for the club by doing the dance with just because your other teammate scored? So I don't know. We'll put up a poll. Like, is it okay to celebrate
someone else's winner?
Goal if you played for the team in the past? I understand, and I also understand, like, a big pile on and it's a late goal. Of course you're gonna celebrate.
But you think the
choreographed dance?
Seems to be like in the disrespectful category.
You're going into a little bit of disrespect.
You know what? I disagree. You were like, hey, I'm goody.
He's like, all right.
Yeah. Once you do that, hey, we have our agreement is settled.
Sure.
End of contract.
So it was a look. The game itself was. I mean, we can really just focus on Manchester City and Erling Haaland again. They have possession and stuff like that, but they whatever it is that Real Madrid do, and we sort of talk about this every year when it comes to Ancelotti and like you hear players talk about Ancelotti, and he's a player manager. I just seen an interview, I forgot with who, but they were saying that Abdoulaye Doucouré, he was talking about when Ancelotti was at Everton, and he was saying that it was on the overlap, right? And he was saying that he didn't understand what was like the magic of Ancelotti until he was really being like coached by him, where he didn't understand why players who didn't play were still happy to be a part of the team and happy to continue supporting. Like, that isn't a normal thing. Like, players that are benched are usually pissed off and they hate that they're not playing. But Ancelotti maintains communication and conversation with those players that are on the bench and tells them, like, you're going to get your opportunity. We need you. We need you to show that support. And players that are on the bench are still happy about it. And this is kind of what Real Madrid, they do this every kind of Champions League where it's just like they find a gear that other teams just don't seem to really have. And I think this just sort of plays out. Manchester City playing with under pressure, panicking, making mistakes. And Real Madrid are like, if we make mistakes, but we still believe in each other. We still have that faith. And I think this game is a perfect example of that.
This is also, for me, I think what you're talking about leads me to what my point is. This game felt like what your best attribute is also their biggest weak point. City give up leads. City give up goals at the end of games. Real Madrid find magic at the end of matches. Put that two together, and you have exactly what we saw here today. Which, by the way, even though City are in a rough patch, this was still a clash of the Titans. This was still a wonderful match to watch. This was still exciting. This still had drama. This still needed Real Madrid to win in the dying seconds. And you saw Pep Guardiola's face. He was as confused as anyone else. How does this happen again? And when I watch this, I get so confused as to how people say, "Oh, missing Rodri isn't what causing all this." How are you saying that when it's very clear the one thing you need is someone patrolling the front line? Because he went back to inverted fullbacks in this game to give his defensive midfielders and the two-man backline essentially he plays with a bit more coverage. The reason you need to invert your fullbacks and they're not forward overlapping and creating overloads or just creating overloads is because you don't have a defensive midfielder as good as naturally finding positions and stopping attacks as Rodri. A lot of this is him trying to cover for not having a player of Rodri's ilk. Right. And you see that that gives you those spaces. This sport simply is about finding available space and advantages. And now you have one. And if you have one against City, there's a chance that you can manipulate that to your favor over the course of 90 minutes. And we're seeing time and time again, they're finding that.
I mean, but look at the lineup. Look how many center backs they have. I mean, I know they're dealing with injuries and obviously Kyle Walker left, but Gavardio, Nathan Ake, Ruben Diaz, Manuel Akanji, John Stones playing that central defensive mid role. These are 5 center backs.
And you leave 2.
Right.
So you've got 3 center backs roaming around trying to find goals.
So I think the concern here is what, and look, and this is the player profile that especially Pep, since he's been at City, kind of looks for is like players that can play in multiple positions. And
center backs that are essentially big midfielders.
I'm saying they're 5 center back, but like Gavardio, Akanji, their former clubs. Yeah, they were center backs.
Yeah, John Stones,
Everton, center back.
Right.
Nathan Ake was at Bournemouth, was at Chelsea, center back. And sometimes plays fullback and can
sprightly, active, athletic enough to play multiple positions, but we're talking about center back.
Exactly. So there's a limit to what you can really do with and I would argue Gavardio, to me, even though he's been scoring a bunch of goals and stuff like that, to me he is still a center back. This is last season, I think everything worked out because the chemistry was kind of perfect and they won the league and everything.
Rodri was available.
But this time, not having Rodri shows the weakness of some of these other players.
And it's not just this time. People who say this just don't know what they're talking about. Because if you go back, we constantly were fed infographics on social media of here's how many matches City win with Rodri, and when he's out, they draw or they lose. It's constant. And now to take him out of the team for an entire season, you're seeing the effects of that.
Did you hear that he might come back this season?
They want him. They want him back towards the end of the season.
That sounds like abuse, bro. I don't know.
Bro, take your time, bro.
That's how desperate it's getting. Pep is like, look, I know the tendons in your knee have not fully connected to each other just yet.
We're gonna dip your leg in horse placenta and just wish for the best.
Manchester City have the problem, and just credit to the second half of Real Madrid I thought was fantastic. I mean, they just play with just in a dynamic, fun way.
It's not just that. There's this belief that the ghosts of Real Madrid past will guide you towards goal and find these open opportunities. And it works every time. It's really frustrating.
Even Valverde, who was playing at right back in this game, it's just to have him as a right. Look, obviously he's a much more of a defensive liability because that is not really his main position. But to have a guy like that who can spring forward or even get into the midfield or get into get a rebound, something and then rocket the ball.
I'm so glad you brought this up. Okay, one of my favorite things about watching Real Madrid is if you pass the ball to Valverde and he is within 35 yards of the goal, he will just as hard as he can one time and I go. And let me tell you something. Every time the ball gets past him, my butthole goes like this. I just spring up in my seat a little bit because it's so exciting. He had a shot that just about went wide, just about. But the pace of that ball, I was like, woo! I actively and loudly went, woo, as I'm watching.
Valverde's just literally one of the cleanest strikers of the ball. Yeah. in world football.
But not if he has time. If he has time, he will look for a pass. He never wants the ball at his foot. If you pass him the ball, he will just pop. He will just pop a shot. And it is beautiful to see. It makes me so excited every time he does it.
The other Champions League
Buddy, talk your shit, okay? Everton.
Oh, no. The other Champions League. We got one more. We're
going to talk about
Yeah. Just Juve and their 2-1 win against PSV.
Speaking of America,
they and Weston Mckennie gets a goal here. And
was he captain in this game as well?
He was not captain. In this game,
this one he wasn't.
But he's always gonna be our captain.
I salute my guy. I'm gonna give you the European stool. You know how them dudes do.
I loved. I mean, the goal was just fantastic. And again, and Weston Mckennie is just one of those players. If he is, speaking of a Valverde type, he's not really a long distance striker, but he is very like if I'm there, if you give me the chance, I'm gonna go for it.
Can we talk about Weston Mckennie? He's, for the second season in a row, a different manager told him, you are not in my plans.
Yeah.
Go find yourself another club. And
Weston said, get new plans.
Yo, Weston said, I don't know if you heard, but you gonna love me. Similar to what I think I did to you, which is you're like, I don't think I can put up with this guy. And here I am, an active part of your life, whether you like it or not. This man has gone from that to his coach just saying, it's impossible to keep him out of the starting 11. He is that essential of a player. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know the exact phrase he used. But Weston must be on the field. Gushes over, and he did call him special player. This is what I'm talking about. This guy has been he started at left back, right back. He started in the midfield. He started at striker. He has started all over this pitch.
Winger, he's played everywhere.
Yeah, winger. Literally everything but goalkeeper. He's the only thing he hasn't done is put on the gloves. And this man has shined. That may not be his best position, but he is one of those Swiss Army knife type players that you want on the pitch at some point. And also the way other players talk about him, like, oh, he brings that American thing where he's like fun and always laughing and always wants to everyone have a good time. He's great in the locker room. He's great outside the locker room. He's great on the pitch. He proves you wrong. He has the self-awareness and the self-confidence to say, I don't care if you tell me I'm not part of the plans.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Remember, there was a rumor that this guy was going to go to FC Cincinnati. We heard on the low that there was part ownership. He was trying to negotiate part ownership as part of that deal.
Oh, like a messy deal.
Yeah, when he leaves the deal, he's still a small owner, but he part owner of the club. There was real conversations happening.
That's real pull.
By the way, first of all, shouts to Weston Mckennie. You're like, oh, you want me? Give me a car. You know what I mean? The car's mine now. You know, I'll eat at your restaurant, but now I own the restaurant. Okay, no. It's now Applebee's, brought to you by Weston Mckennie.
Some of the comments were great from Mota. I mean, we're looking at one here. It says, "quote It's impossible to leave him on the bench. He's such a special player." He continued, "Weston is special. He's a great player, a great guy. He has played fullback, holding midfielder, attacking midfielder, winger. He's a top-level player. When I say that a top-level player can play everywhere, it's because I know what I'm talking about. I've been in football for many years. When you ask where players should play, it's not something that concerns me. Weston plays everywhere, and he has to be on the field." And he continues. I just... the glazing is in full effect.
Calmate, Mota. Bro, this guy has impressed Pirlo when he was his manager. He's impressed Allegri. He's won over both of those.
Well, it wasn't first impression.
No.
It was always, he had to earn it.
And you know what? I don't want to sit here and talk about whether it's because he's American or this, but I think Weston Mckennie is one of those players where you're like, I'm not exactly sure what you do just yet. You know what I mean? There's not one position where I say you're overwhelmingly the best in that one position.
Yeah.
But I think this is exactly what Weston Mckennie does that's so great, which is he has such an exceptional footballing mind. He understands the sport of soccer. He has such a high soccer IQ and he's so athletic, and he's so willing to put his body on the line, and he's so willing to be brave. He's so willing to make a run. He's so willing to put himself in a position where he knows he has to track back, but he's like, I know if I run forward, I can help the team. He's so willing to do those things that regardless of where you put him, he will find a way to impress. And I think going into 2026, there was a lot of worry about maybe he comes back to MLS. We don't know where he is. Coaches don't want him. Going into the World Cup 2026, I am so confident to say that now we have a third or fourth must-write-in player.
Yeah.
Like, it's like no more, right? The Berhalter days of like, I know my 11 and then maybe you can fit. Those days are gone. Pochettino's going to figure out who he wants to play, regardless of what the structure is based on your club form or if he trusts you. Christian Pulisic, guaranteed. And Anthony Robinson, guaranteed. Serginho Dest, if he's healthy, I'm pretty sure he's guaranteed to be in. Weston Mckennie, without a doubt, write him in the marker, bro. This guy's guaranteed to start in the men's national team.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see. I mean, and just in the last couple of weeks, I mean, the Mota talking about, he's playing at fullback. When he played in the Supercopa, the semifinal against Milan that they ended up losing, but he played a left back. And just seeing him, and you don't even consider he's a right-footed player. What the hell is he doing at left back?
Right.
You question. You have the questions like, can he technically play in that position? Can he physically instinct? Yeah. Can he physically play in that? Is he fast enough? Fullbacks are generally faster than a central defensive midfielder like McKennie, and like what you mentioned, just the soccer IQ. The fact that he is able to play in any of those positions and not look out of place. He never looks lost. It's never misplaced passes. It's never getting out of trouble.
Also, when he's like up close to the halfway of the pitch line and they're in attack and he just pings a diagonal right to the foot of an attacking midfielder, I'm like, bruh, you got it all in your locker.
Yeah, just fantastic to see. So great to, they ended up winning. A bummer for PSV that obviously
there's a couple Americans upset on there.
Ricardo Pepi not being available, and it looks like he's going to be out for the season.
Yeah, that's a rough
which sucks. It could have been a different matchup, but still a tough matchup in that second leg because PSV definitely do have.
McKennie said in the postgame, "I like beating my fellow Americans." He was joking, but it was nice. It's nice to see.